Costa Rica's President Rodrigo Chaves received his Colombian counterpart Gustavo Petro to discuss issues of bilateral interest. French President Emmanuel Macron said his ambassador will remain in a year despite the expiration of the interim government's ultimatum. Libya's unity government temporarily suspends its top diplomat Madame Michoud after her unexpected meeting with her Israeli counterpart Ali Cohen. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. Colombian President Gustavo Petro met on Monday with his Costa Rican counterpart Rodrigo Chaves and with the head of the Inter-American Court of Human Rights in the capital, San Jose. The meetings take place during a two-day visit by the Colombian president to the Central American nation following an invitation by his Costa Rican counterpart Rodrigo Chaves. The leaders of the two nations agreed to work together to defend their coffee in the world's market. According to Gustavo Petro, the agreement seeks to obtain greater income from the emblematic products of both countries at the time when the international price of the grain and the exports of both nations are failing.
We discussed very strategic matters such as climate change, peace for the region, and taking huge amount of resources away from the bad people.
We have discussed even more complex issues like migration, a new and growing phenomenon on which we have to build a common Latin American policy.
Colombian authorities report having seized around 640 tons of drugs so far in 2023. According to the operational results provided by the defense authorities, along with the military leaders in aspects such as drug sizes and illegal mining in the first month of 2023, the National Navy managed to size up to 4% higher than the tons of cocaine seized in the same period of 2022. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has announced that he will sign a bill that marks permanent regular judge the minimum wage. On August 24th, the Senate approved the temporary provision of minimum wage judgment. The temporary order determined the value of the new minimum paid at 1,320 reais, about $272, an increase of 2.8% of an amount set during the previous administration of Jair Bolsonaro. In the United States, in the southern state of Florida, a helicopter crashed on Monday on a small apartment building. The accident took place in Mopano Beach, north of Miami. The helicopter caught fire and started coming apart in the mid-air. The two people on board have been taken to the hospital. People on the ground were also injured, and there is at least one fatality. In the United States, a faculty member of the University of North Carolina was reported dead on Monday after a shooting in the campus on that learning institution. Chancellor Kevin Kismiskowitz said at a Monday evening news conference that shots were reported at 1 p.m. local time at the school's Caudill laboratories and that a suspect had been taken into custody shortly after 2:30 p.m. Officials reported no injuries or other fatalities. And despite the U.S. sanctions and Western media narrative of a sprawling economy, Venezuela thrives thanks to its resilience and the strength of its people. To showcase the reality of the South American nation beyond misconceptions or fake news, teleSUR presents the series Venezuela on a Move, touring the nation from north to south, from the mountains to the plainlands. In our first episode, our colleague Adriana Sibori takes us to Portuguese state, where the prosperity rises from cornfield. Let's see.
In oil-rich Venezuela, corn is planted. It is part of Venezuelans' daily diet, and depending on the variety, is also used for animal feed. Its cultivation responds to climate behavior. However, experts assure that with good soil moisture management is well maintained.
The land here is privileged, with very good yields. In previous years, we have been declining, but we are trying to get ahead with good production and good yields.
Production seems to be advancing in the center of the nation, where Los Manires is located, one of the private farms that produces corn. Antonio works here. He's an innate expert and crop specialist.
I graduated in 2018, but I have been working with my father since I was a child. A great teacher with empirical knowledge, very valuable to put into practice here, and greatly complements the scientific knowledge the university gave me.
They carefully check each plant. This farm is expecting this year production of corn cob to exceed 9,000 kilograms.
Normal plague, and here is the will of God, as we say. Everything is normal here, everything is out of danger. The only thing left to do is to remove weeds. But everything is under control.
Corn is the most important crop in the agricultural sector, which increased by 52%, something that was achieved despite of the blockade imposed by the United States, according to government data.
We already have businessmen from Argentina, from China, from Turkey, from Uruguay, who are cultivating in alliance with our producers. It was not that they came here and grabbed the land. No, it is with our producers, financing that production, which was one of the drawbacks we had regarding financing. Because if we did not have any revenue with reeds, how could we finance ourselves, right?
In this Caribbean country, according to government data, the overall cereal production grew by 48% compared to the previous year.
Adriana Sibori, Jesús Romero, teleSUR.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account on teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. Poland and the Baltic states, members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, warned that they will close the borders with Belarus in the event of any military incident or a massive migration push by Minsk. The governments of Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia argued that the warnings were due to growing tensions at NATO and European Union borders with Belarus, with allied troops, which they claim are diverting Africans and Middle Eastern migrants to Europe despite established barriers. On the other hand, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko said that if the Lithuanian, Latvians, or the Polish authorities close their borders with Belarus, they will only harm themselves and their citizens. The head of the state stressed that Belarus is a peaceful country and has not pretensions towards its western neighbors, reiterating that Belarus does not need Polish, Lithuanian, or Latvian lands, as his country does not work through any of them. French President Emmanuel Macron said that his ambassador will remain in Niger despite the expiration of the interim government's ultimatum. The French head of state said that Paris condemns the coup and will not change its position, and asserts that it will continue its full support to President Mohamed Bazoum. Macron added that the French ambassador did not heed the ultimatum, as he considers that the order did not come from legitimate authorities.
have to be clear, coherent, consistent, otherwise, who will listen to us? In which African capitals will they be able to say that we have a policy of partnership with the leader if when something like this happens, we cannot support him? So I think our policy is the right one. It is based on the courage of President Bazoum and the commitment of our diplomats and our ambassador on the ground, who stand firm despite the pressure.
French president also reminded that his country does not recognize or support push-ins governments under any circumstances.
Our policy is simple. We do not recognize the putschists. We support a president who has not resigned, to whom we remain committed, and we support the diplomatic actions, and if decided, the military actions of ECOWAS, in a partnership approach which is the one I presented last February.
In the United Kingdom, the Interior Ministry considers attach an electronic track device to irregular asylum seekers. UK officials have been forced to consider new measures as they fear that they will soon run out of spaces in migration detention centers and asylum accommodations, seeking to push Rishi Sunak's new stop to boats. To stop boat law into effect. The illegal migration act states that those arriving illegally in the UK must be detained and removed and taken to Rwanda or a safe third country while their asylum requests are being processed. India's government reported that trade between New Delhi and Moscow grew by 190% on its first half of 2023. According to New Delhi's Ministry of Trade and Industry, the growth reached $33.5 billion between January and July this year. During the period, import of Russian products in India reached $31.5 billion, 3 times more than in the first half of 2022. Cuban authorities have issued a hurricane alarm warning for several western provinces on Monday due as tropical storm Idalia moves northwards and strengthens. The country's National Meteorological Institute informed that the tropical storm continues moving northwards at 13 kilometers per hour with maximum sustained winds to reach 110 kilometers per hour. Cuba's National Civil Defense issued a hurricane alarm for the province of Pinar del Rio, Artemisas, and the Island of Youth, and began operations to brace for the effects of strong approach to the national territory. More than half of the European ski resorts are bound to face serious lack of snow due to the high temperatures. The announcement was made by a group of specialists who warned that the winter's tourist industry will face great challenges if temperature rises 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels. The team also warned that a common solution of producing artificial snow will only compensate particles at the lack of snow. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. One financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. Libya's unity government temporarily suspends its top diplomat Nayal Mashoud after her unexpected meeting with her Israeli counterpart Eli Cohen. The High Council of State described the meeting as an offense to the rich history of struggle by the Libyan people in solidarity with the Palestinian cause. The government body urged all the competent authorities to take the necessary measures and responsibility. Following the decision, government authorities announced the launching of an administrative investigation to be carried out by the commission presided over by the Minister of Justice. In this context, on Monday, Libyan Prime Minister visited the Palestinian embassy in the capital Tripoli to affirm his country's continued support for the Palestinian cause. This visit came after the Bangladesh suspended Foreign Minister Nayal Moshoon and referred her for an investigation over a meeting last week with her Israeli counterpart in Italy. Moshoon failed the country a day after Israel revealed the visit, news that prompted scattered street protests in the chaos-stricken North African nation. In the UN, Special Representative to Mali, El Gashiwain, says that the second phase of the withdrawal of the UN peacekeepers from the country will be challenging. The UN representative said the size of the convoys involving hundreds of lorries and long-distance travel over unhospitable terrains leave them vulnerable. The UN peacekeeping mission, known as MINUSMA, has until December the 31st to exit Mali after a decade of struggling to stabilize the country's security environment and separatist rebellion.
The mission continues to encourage parties to reach an agreement to avoid unnecessary incidents whose consequences could be considerable. Such incidents would complicate the withdrawal process, negatively impact the work of UN bodies following the mission's closure, and seriously impair prospects for the resumption of the implementation of the peace agreements.
Sudan's Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan told troops in Port Sudan on Monday the time has come to end the rebellion by militaries promising victory 4 months into a brutal war. The Army Chief comments come a day after his deputy-turned-rival Mohamed Hamad Daglo released a statement detailing a 10-point vision to end a war and build a new state. The plan calls for civilians rule based on democratic norms and a single professional national military institution, the very strict points which turns the former allies into rebels. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook and Twitter, and on Instagram as well. The Telesur English from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.